Welcome back to One Piece Interview. This is part 19A. Yeah, this is basically, I decided to break this up into a series of parts because, well, we're talking about the specials anyways. Though, next part I'm going to talk about the film One Piece Strong and, of course, the prelude stuff. This one I want to talk about the Boss Luffy historical special. This one, basically, this whole entire arc is comprised of the 4th special and 5 episodes from the series. The special is actually split into 2 parts. In this special, we get introduced to this universe's. This basically is kind of like feudal Japan. You get introduced to Luffy, who is a detective, and his partner is Usopp for some reason. Yeah. Nami and Sanji run a restaurant, though Nami is the owner and Sanji is the cook. Let's see. The Usopp pirates are in here as well. All 3 of them, with Rikiga, who is a friend of theirs. Let's see. There's also Buggy, who appears in the opening part. Yeah, and Buggy, instead of being a pirate, he is a crime boss. Yep, Buggy is a crime boss. I should point out, though, out of all these Boss Luffy stories, Buggy appears in almost every single one except for the last 2. Yeah, for some reason they decided not to include him. And he's a fun character, even in the regular thing, yeah. And plus, one thing neat about this alternate reality, he gets to interact with characters that he never interacted with in the regular continuity. Like, he sort of interacted with Robin, though she can see her power. He gets to interact with the Nefertiti family, pretty much almost the entire, well, basically, well, I'll get to in a minute. Silver Fox, yeah, he never interacted with him at all. Let's see. Who else do you interact with? Let's see. Hachin. Yeah, he appears in here as well. And one of the 4 priests from Skypiea. Yep, interact with him as well. I'm trying to think. Was anybody else he interacted with? Top of my head, no. But he interacted with a lot of people he never interacted with in the regular continuity. Well, he did interact with Mr. 3, which he did interact with in the regular continuity. Mr. 3 in this continuity is a commissioner. He looks the same. He still has that 3 hairstyle. Also, Miss Monday appears in this continuity, and she works for one of the mansions. Yeah, one of like 2 people who associate with Baroque's works who actually do appear in this thing. Robin technically does appear in like pretty much like every single one. Only a couple times she interacts with the main characters. Most of the time, she just acts in the background. She spies. As for, now, anyone can tell this is this version of Nico Robin. They don't say her name at all. She gets very little dialogue. I mean, she first appeared in the 2nd part of the 1st special. Which that's when we introduced the Nefertiti family. Now, the castle is called Alabastin. Yeah, it's not Alabasta, it's Alabastin. And her father is not a king. He's a shogun. Yep, he's a shogun. The 2 guardians, instead of being guardians, they're basically the bodyguards. Edegram, who actually appears in about several of these, almost all except like 1 or 2, instead of being captain of the guard, he is the chancellor. But he pretty much does the same thing he normally does. So he always constantly worries about BB. Yeah. Let's see. Sanji, aside from the fact he works as a cook for the Pinwheel restaurant. Oh, speaking of Pinwheel, the police chief who is known for wearing the Pinwheel, he appears in the soccer tree part. Yeah, he appears there as a cameo. Conus and her father. Conus appears in the one that deals with rice cakes. Her father appears for another one that appears involved with the sakura tree. Also, they bring in the one with the rice cakes. They also are one of the chefs from the Bastille restaurant. Let's see. Trying to think though. There's let's see. I'll get to the other ones in a minute. Let's see. I think that's really it. As far as I can tell, that's it. Yeah. Also, for some reason, Buggy is never arrested, despite the many crimes he's committed throughout this whole entire thing. He never gets arrested. I think his clan gets arrested, but not him. Yeah, he's in charge of the Clown Clan. Oh, and his acrobat guy, who was basically known for riding a unicycle, yeah, he's a swordsman, and His Animal Tamer is pretty much the same character, except that all the Clown Clan have basically clown makeup on. Even Buggy's got clown makeup on. And when it was asked about his nose, yeah, it's naturally his nose is like that anyways. Let's see. There is a version of Thriller Bark in here, and they have pretty much most people associated with Thriller Bark in there. Except for Gecko Moria for some reason. Yeah, for some reason, no Gecko Moria. And apparently in this version, Brook appears in here too. He apparently worked for Thriller Bark company. Yeah, they're a company for some reason. They take over a 13-story tower. And this is also never explained in this continuity, at least in the regular one. There's an explanation for this. Brook is a skeleton, and there's no explanation of why he's a skeleton. Though in the mainstream continuity, it's because, well, he ate the revive fruit, and he died and pretty much spent like a year wandering around before he turned into a skeleton. Let's see. Yeah. For some reason, out of all the characters who wear different attire than they do in the regular continuity, he wears his Part 1 attire for some reason. With the exception of his top hat. Yeah. He, instead of playing the violin, he plays a wooden flute. And instead of wearing a top hat, he has a ponytail for his afro. Yeah. Also, in that two-parter, they also see the versions of the Flying Fishmen, which they interact with the Thriller Bark Company, which is something they did not do in the regular continuity. They did interact with the Rolling Pirates, the Rolling Men Company, which was led by Lola. As far as I can tell, there's no mention of her mother being Big Mom. Yeah. That is never explained if she is or not. I'm surprised they actually stopped after doing the last two-part, which I believe was in. I think from looking, I think it was the end of season 11. I believe it was. Yeah, the last time they did this was season 11. Yeah, that was the last time they actually did this. So it's been some time. I wouldn't mind if they did another one. Though they probably have to have the characters update their looks and. Well, in the case of Sanji, you probably have to just change his hair. Now, in the case of Nami, the only change to make with her is make her chest bigger. Yeah, because she wears a kimono a lot of the time. But I wouldn't mind. One thing would be really interesting if they ever did this, because they've done a few crossovers like with Torko and DBZ. What if the regular... what if, let's say, after Whole Cake finishes up, whenever it finally does, let's say in the manga this happens. Okay, let's say if the Thousand Sunday gets lost in a storm and they wound up in Grand Japan. That's where the country is set in. And they went up there, and of course the crew is basically at this point just consisted of Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Chopper, Brook, Pedro, Carrot, and maybe, if they want to, that female chef who has a crush on Sanjay, basically, who was signed to be a servant, and he brings her along with her. Let's say that happens. They go there and they're surprised at their counterparts, basically, of how much different they are. Like Luffy would be mostly surprised to see that his counterpart is a cop, and basically carrying the same sword Smoker was known for using. Though his blade was a lot longer, and at the tip of it had a sea stone in it, and. Oh yeah, Usopp had one of these too, and he's a little more braver in this one than he is in the other one, and he still uses a slingshot. But what about Zoro? Zoro, most of the time when he appears in these things, he does virtually nothing. He just sleeps and complains people are just noisy. He very rarely interacts with anybody. He just walks around. He just he isn't wearing shoes. He just sleeps. He basically interacts with them maybe a couple times throughout all these specials. Also, when I watched the special, the first thing to open this thing up, yeah, people were speaking way too fast in the Japanese. It's probably the version I saw on YouTube, but yeah, the visuals are great, but the sub version was terrible. I mean, it's like I'm not sure what exactly happened. It could be the version I watched, but the sub basically was running like way too fast. Yeah. Excuse me. Let's see. Cammy shows up in the last one. You barely get a chance to see her. You don't get a chance to see if she's a mermaid or not, like she's in the regular continuity. But she's seen working for Hachin, who apparently has opened up his own shop, even though when he was last seen, he was working for Buggy. for some reason. Yeah. No, my question is, why would a octopus fishman work for a human? He still has a chop chop fruit, though in the sub they refer to himself as a split man, even though he had the chop chop fruit. As for Nami being kidnapped, in the first part, Nami gets kidnapped. Do they call her Onami for some reason? I have no idea why. Oh, and most of the characters are, even in the dub, they refer to them with the honorifics, which I would have thought, with the English dub wasn't necessary, but for some reason they kept it in. Now, I know for a fact that Cammy, in the dub, she kept calling people with honorifics, like Chun. Yeah, she kept referring to them with honorifics a lot in the dub. She's practically the only one who did. But yeah, here, like, half the cast basically dress each other with honorifics for some reason. Yeah, it's never explained. Probably because it's just a dub, but the dub itself is really good for these set of episodes. The special was really good. I love the story for the 2 parts. It's just that the voice performance was okay. It's just that it was running too fast. That was the problem with it. Though Buggy's motivation for his plans is very bizarre. Stealing rice cakes or stealing a tree and selling it to Foxy pirates. Oh yeah, and mentioning that apparently Foxy has pork chop is mentioned. She is never seen here. Oh, his top goon, he's seen. Doesn't say anything. Oh, that priest guy who worked with Hachin basically early part. Yeah, he does pretty much the same thing he does in regular continuity. He rolls his eyes back and head for no explained reason. Covers his mouth, like does a little. He still does that for some reason. It's never explained. Yeah, it would have been nice to see this world's version of the 7 warlords. That would have been interesting. Oh, and in the case of this continuity, it would have been more interesting if they would have like explained certain things, like when did Luffy get hired by the police force, and why is he called boss? Yeah, he's frequently called boss for some reason, or chief. Yeah, as for how this happened, just some series of stories set in this continuity. But it's done really well. These are great stories. I do recommend them. I wouldn't be surprised if Filmation decided to bunch all these together in like one small set, though for some reason I have no idea why this is. The special, for some reason, was never dubbed. This is only my second special I've watched of the 12 specials released, and I had to watch it subbed. I had nothing wrong with the sub. It's just that the sub for 3D2Y, what's the name of it? It's the 8th one. 3D2Y Overcoming 8th instead of Luffy's Father's Friends. The way they did the sub for that one, that was a lot better than what they did with the one for the first one. Of course, I was watching on YouTube, but yeah, the animation is gorgeous for these parts. This was an interesting experiment that I think they should have continued at some point. But maybe Oda can maybe do like a few chapters where they just have to just take those feudal Japan, Edo Japan stuff, and basically have a crossover between the two of them. This would be interesting. But I would recommend doing this after Whole Cake wraps up, because it would be kind of awkward just interrupted randomly. And I would just have it where 1,000 Honey, like I said, roll through a storm and they go shopping and interact with their counterparts. And I wonder how Luffy would basically not only feel about his own counterparts, but I'm sure when he sees Buggy, he's like, Buggy, you look completely different from the last time I saw you. Or something like that, yeah. Though, here's kind of the weird thing in part 2. Luffy has not encountered Buggy at all. I mean, the last time on screen he's encountered him was in that special. Because he hasn't interacted with Buggy at all. Because, well, in part 2, Buggy has barely appeared in part 2. I mean, he's only made, what, 2 appearances? Yeah. When they revealed, oh yeah, he's a warlord, and I think it was the start of the Tower arc, which is the arc that the Tower arc, the arc that preceded Whole Cake. Yeah, he's only seen a couple times. Even the manga appears a couple times, but it would be nice to see more characters in this continuity if they were did more of these episodes, but who knows? Excuse me. Who knows in the future if they do more of these, because I gotta say, great set of episodes. All right, so that's really it for this one. Next part 19.8, I will talk about the stuff related to Strong World. Basically, it's 4 prequel episodes that set up the film and the film itself. I'll talk about that in part 19b. Okay, but until then, I will see you there. Bye.